Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and in today's video we are going to continue from where we stopped from the last tutorial. We are creating this cool trailer scene, and don't forget, I'll make sure the project file is actually available for you to download so you can have access to all the assets that I use. And if you are new to this, make sure you go and watch the previous video. Of course, subscribe so that I can always get updates from me. If you have been with me, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for the support. And don't let me take too much of your time. Let's get to the video. So let's move on. So I'm just going to close it up like this. So the next thing I like to create is those particles. I'm going to use Trapcode particular for this. Trapcode particular is actually a product of Red Giant, so I'll advise you check them out and download their product. They're quite good. So we're going to be using Trapcode to generate our particles. So I'm going to right click, go to new and select solid, and let me just change this to something like this. I'm name this P01, which is particle 01. I'll click, make sure it's make comp size, and I'll click OK. Now I'm going to select this, going to add the effect particular. So you must have Red Giant Trapcode particular for you to be able to have access to this effect or plugin. So I'll click on this. So by default, this is what I will get. So what I like to do is to go to the designer, because this is actually very easy to, it's actually quite easier for me to tweak from here than to go through all of this thing here. So let's do that. So I'm just going to select this. So by default, this is what I have. So let me just adjust the screen a little bit. So let me just adjust this like this. All right, so if I go to presets, I can see that I have some interesting stuff here. I can come here and select this, and then maybe I can continue to build from this particular one, or probably just click this. So I'll go to the emitter type, and I'll just come here, and I'd like to increase this a whole lot, particles per second. So I'm just going to increase this to about 2000. So you can see that we have a whole lot more particles going on here. So now I'll go to the motion. Now I'm going to change it from uniform to directional. I'll change the X rotation to 70. I'll change the velocity to 60. Now I'll move to particle types. So I'll change this from cloudlet to sphere. So I'll go to air resistance. I'll just do 0.1. So let me go to the size and rotation. If there's something I would like to tweak there, I think I'm good with that. So what I would like to do is to go to shadowlet. So I'll click on shadowlet, and I'll come here, and I'm going to enable lighting. So it's saying this, but in the real rendering, when we go back to After Effects, it's going to show that. It's going to show the result of what we're doing. I'll change the normal distance to 100%. So now I'll go to environment. So the gravity, I'm just going to make this 0. Then Win Z, I'm just going to make this 7%. Then the density, I'm going to make this 9. So I'll go to affect position, and I'm just going to make it 0. So the next thing I would like to do is to go to fast physics, and I'm going to change the settings here as well. So drift X, I'll change this to 0. Then drift Y, change this to -24. So I'll go to TF affect position. I'm just going to put 4 as the value I'm going to do for that. TF scale, I'm just going to do 17. TF complexity, I'm just going to do 3. I think basically I'm done with this. So all I need to do is just click on apply. And as soon as I do that, we have a totally different results. You can see that the particles are actually quite small, which is what we really want. So this might not look so much fun right now, but guess what? If I take this back, can you see that the particles are actually going along as well? So if I play this, I have the particles coming with it. I'm just going to duplicate this particle, and then so we can have something really more dynamic. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So let me solo this alone. So for this, I'll just go to designer. So I have this, I just need to develop more on this. So I'll go to emitter type. I'll just change this to, I'll change the particles per second to 310. I think the motion is fine. So I go to the motion, every setting is fine. I'll go to particle type. So this is where I need to really tweak something here. So I'll go to live random, and I'm just going to put in 15% for this. I'll go to opacity now. Then I'm going to come here. But I choose this particular. I actually like this particular because it actually blinks towards the end. Can you see? But then if I do randomize, So this is the kind of result we are going to get, and I think I really like this a lot. So I think I'm good with the color. I'll go to the shadowlet. This has to do with the light of the shadow, so I'll just disable this. I'll go to the environment. I think I'm good with the environment. Then I'll go to the fast physics. I'm looking at this and I think every other thing is good. I think I'm pretty satisfied with this. So I'll just go ahead and click on apply. You can see that this particle is actually more here now. So we're going to do just one more. So I'll duplicate one more time. So I'm going to check this, click this, and I'm just going to come here and click on designer. For the emitter type, I'm just going to come here and I'll change this or reduce this a lot to 40. Then the emitter size XYZ. So I'll just come here and put in this value 2065. So now I'll go to the particle type and I'm going to change the settings. So I'll change the life seconds to about 8.8. Change the life random to 43%. Change the particle feather to 55. And I think every other thing seems to be fine. So I'll go to particle size. So I actually want this to be a little bit bigger. I'll change the size to about 6%. And then I'll go to opacity and I'm going to change the opacity here to 20%. So I don't want it to be that obvious. And I'll change the opacity randomness to 100%. Then I can change the presets. So let me change the preset to this. So the next one I'd like to check now is the fast physics. And I'm just going to come here, then adjust the settings. So I'll go to affect position, TF affect position to be TF affect size first to be about 62%. Then TF affect opacity to be 48%. TF affect position should be about 56. Then I'll change the fading time to about 0.8. And I think with this, I'm good. I'll just click on apply. So if I come here and activate these three particles, this is what we have at the end of the day. So with this, I can just come here and I think I'd like to reduce the opacity of this one to 70%. So that one will not be too obvious. But if I activate everything, let me uncheck the solo. I have something like this. So if I take this back and then I play, we have something really cool like this with those particles going in there. One thing I also like to do is to go to the rendering settings. So let me go to the first particle here, open this up, then open up motion blur. And then I'm just going to change this from comp settings to on. I've activated motion blur for this. I'm going to do the same for the rest. So I just quickly do that. Right, it's going to take a whole lot from your application, from After Effects. So if you're really using a good machine, you really enjoy this benefit. But if not, it's going to take a whole lot more for the RAM to do its magic. So let me just take this back. And then if I play this, all right, can you guys see the difference? So let that go again. Can you guys see the difference in the particles? So just in case you don't know, can you see the way? Because if I activated motion blur, can you see what's going on here? You can see that rays of particles. So that's what it's giving us. So the next I'd like to create is the smoke. So let's quickly do that. So I'll create another solid and I'm going to make this, name this smoke. You can use something like this. Click OK. Select these, then use my effects, type in fractal noise. So that's what is going to bring the magic. So I'm just going to change the settings here. I'm going to change the contrast to 75. By the way, basic and soft linear is fine. The brightness is good the way it is. Then I'll go to complexity. This is where I need to increase this quite a lot. I'll use 20 as my complexity. So I'll go to my evolution. So I'm going to alt click this and I'm just going to come here and put in the value times 150 and click out. So this will just keep going. Can you see how it's animating? I think I need to increase the scale of this. Let me see. So if I open the scale, I can uncheck uniform scale and I'm going to do scale width to be 400 and scale height to be 250. All right, so I have something like this. Now it's looking more like a smoke. What I would like to do is to make use of the offset turbulence. So I can come here and let me just set a simple keyframe to this, set this here, then let's say go back and I can just drag this forward. So it just keeps sliding to the side a little bit like this. So if I scroll this now, this is what I have. What I'll do, I'll close this up and make sure this is 3D as well, because I want it to follow with the camera. Then I'm going to change the blend mode. So I'm going to toggle switches and mode. I'm going to change the blend mode to screen. The reason why it seems to be bright in the center is because it's this accepting light, because it's a 3D layer. So what I'll do is open this up, close the effect, go to the material, make sure you click on off on the accept light, so you can see that everything is now normal, which is cool. So one other thing is I will reduce the opacity a lot to about 25%. So I'll select my smoke, and then what I would like to do is to create a mask. So I'm going to click on the pen tool, and I'm going to zoom out like this, and I'm going to do something like this. Then I'll open up my mask, and then I'll go to feather this a lot, right? Let's say to about, let's say 840. So I have this something like this. So let me just close this up. So I'm going to fit to screen. So if I take this back and then I play, you can see what's going on here. It's making a whole lot of sense. And the last one I'll be creating is optical flares. So I'll right click, go to new, solid. I'll change this to the under color entirely. Name this to optical flares. Then click OK. Right, and I'm going to come here, apply optical flares to this. This is from Video Copilot. First thing I'd like to do is to go to the position mode. The position mode, I'll change it to 3D. That is fine. Now I'll go to the options, and then I would like to select the best presets that best suits what I really want. So I can go to the preset browser. Let's go to light. Let's see what we have. I think I can go with this beam. If I click on this, I like this beam, but then I would like to take away some things that I don't want, so I can start exploring from this. So let me even make this a full screen. So from here I can hide. Okay, I think I want that. This is fine, but this glare is what I don't really want. So basically all I needed was the glow, the 3 glows, and that's about it. So with this, I'm really cool with this. So all I need to do is click OK. So all I need to do now is to go to the render mode, click on this, click on transparent. Right, so I want it to be at the middle of the text, somewhere down here. I would like to know the position of my text, so to be sure. So well, first of all, I can also drag it here like this first. Then I can reduce the scale quite a lot. Let's say about 30%. I would like some subtle animation on this flare. So I'll go to flicker. Then I'm just going to make it sharp. I'll make this about 86%. The speed should be about 86, and then the amount should be about 100. So if I just take this back and play, but then I don't want it to start appearing from the beginning. I want it to start appearing at the point. So I'll go to the 1 second mark, and I'm going to set the scale here. Then I'll just drag this forward a little bit, maybe up some few frames back, and I'm going to set the scale here to be 0. Right, so it's just going to come from nothing like this, and I can just close this up. And then with this, I think we are pretty done with the scene. It's just for us to just blend everything all together and make it look really good. Okay, so before I do all of that, I would like to duplicate my element, because I really want this text to be really shining. So I will duplicate my element 3D, and this time around I'll go to the render settings. I'll go to the, I beg your pardon, not render settings. I'll close this. I'll go to output, and this time around, instead of composite, I'm going to put it on specular. But then I'm going to take this and I'm going to change the blend mode to hard. So it's going to shine it's going to make it shine a little bit more. So I'm just going to play with these settings here. So I'm just going to put 0.37. I'm going to put 9.97. The reflectivity, I want it to reflect. That'll be 4.75. And I think every other thing seems to be fine by me. So I'll just come here, then change the opacity to about 50%. So with this, finally done with this, all I will do now is I'll create a new comp. I'll make this the final comp, and I'm going to click OK. And this time around, I'm going to bring in my scene 1 into this. I'm going to create a solid so I can have my cinematic look. Solid, make sure this is black. So I'll just call it black bars, then click OK. Let me activate title action save so I will know where I want to really cut this. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to click on my rectangle tool and I'm going to do something like this. Just drag it like this, try and target this. So let me zoom in some more. I like this top edge and then let me just drag it down. I like to target between these two lines here. So let me just do something like this. Now move this up, target these last 2 points, then do something like this. I think I'm pretty cool, satisfied with this, and then I'll just come and change this to subtract or invert, and I have my cinematic bars. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I would like the bars to go up. So let me highlight this and let this go up like this to this point. And then I like this, like this go up to this point. The next thing is to create an adjustment layer, and I'm going to call this vignette. So I'm going to apply CC vignette this. Let me uncheck this fit to screen, and then I'm just going to increase this a lot to about 140 so it looks kind of dark on the edges, and then I'll increase the pinner light to about 57%. So I have something really cool like this. So I'll create one more adjustment layer, which is going to be the last adjustment layer I'll be creating. Name this MB Looks. So which is it stands for magic bullets. So I'll click this. So I'll apply my looks effect to this. And then what I need to do is to just click on edit. And then from here, I can now start to choose what works best for me. So I think I would like to go with something like this. I'll go with Collins under Blockbuster Cool. I'll click on this and I'll click on apply, and then look at how that will transform my image. If I take this back, so if I play this is what I have. I have this really cool thing going on here. So you can see that with all of this put together, we can actually produce a really cool result. That's one of the things as a motion designer, you can keep seeing things, you can keep tweaking. So I can also go inside this, go to my overlaid 3D specular that I did on this, then maybe add a little bit of glow to it just to make it, come alive some more. Can you see? We can see that happening there. So if I go back to this, you can see the effect. Can you see that? Then of course we need to also change the color bit, the color depth, because this will not give us the accuracy that we want in the color. So I'm just going to alt click this from 8 to 16 bits, and then you will get the kind of result that we want. So in addition to adding glow to this, I can go to element 3D, go to the render settings, go to motion blur. I'll make sure this should be on. I'll do that the same. So let me rename this to, so it should be specular. So I'll come here, go to render settings, then go to motion blur, then make sure this is on. So you can actually see this thing coming in with the blur. Can you see that result? So yeah, I think with this, we are finally done with this. So let's go back to the final comp here and then take this back and play from the beginning. Alright guys, I really hope you do enjoy that. I'm pretty sure you've learned 1 or 2 things. Don't forget the project file is down in the link in the description. And if you actually use any of these techniques, make sure you tag me on my Instagram handle at nash.k_works. I will be glad to see them, and I will see you guys in the next video.